Now, we mentioned at the top of the show that today is Earth Day, and joining us now is VOA's Rebecca Ward. Rebecca does a weekly feature on voanews.com called Going Green.
And of course, Rebecca, we are pleased to have you in the studio here on In Focus. Thank you for
having me.
Now, before we go to your first report, how about telling us a little bit more about Going Green?
Well, it's a weekly show that showcases environmental trends and technology, and sometimes I mix some fun stories in it with more serious stories, like you'll see today.
All right.
Are you concerned about some of the impact of the
Oh, sure.
global...
I think everybody is concerned, and so on a personal level, I recycle, and I am certainly doing my part. We could all do more.
Environmentalist.
Well, I wouldn't go as far as that, but I am concerned, and especially about conservation and reusing and recycling.
That's great.
Okay, well, today, Going Green goes first to Kenya to speak with the co-author of a study about the dangers facing some native animal species.
Wild grazing animals are disappearing from Kenya's cherished Masai Mara National Reserve. That's according to a new study by the Nairobi-based International Livestock Research Institute. The reason, says the report, is human encroachment on the borders of the reserve. Joseph Agutu co-authored the study. He spoke to us by phone from Nairobi.
One of the significant causes of the decline is just the loss of the habitat, and then the reduction in the quality of the habitat, or degradation of the habitat, if you like. Another thing is the increase in the number of settlements. And these are on ranchlands which are bordering the reserve. What we are seeing in the Mara is just one example of a general pattern that is actually happening all over Kenya.
Researchers say more permanent human settlements have led to dramatic drops in populations of 6-hoofed species, including giraffes, impala, and warthogs. The study appears in next month's British Journal of Zoology. Here in the United States, Americans are becoming more and more concerned about the environment, even when on vacation. Your feet are killing you after walking from the White House to the Washington Monument, and you still haven't been to the Lincoln or Jefferson Memorial, not to mention the Smithsonian museums. Can't see much from a bus, and a traditional taxi cab, well, that just uses too much fuel.
We figure with pedicab we'll use muscle power rather than gas power.
Somebody else's muscle power.
Alex Leshak is the driver/peddler on this day's outing. He's been pedaling professionally for the past 2 years.
And as I started actually doing this, I really see the environmental impact that pedicabs had. I mean, what can be a greener form of transportation than a human-powered vehicle? And let's face it, I also run on biofuel too, so you know.
Well, that end.
There are some nutritional things that I do, including this.
Just this one ride will last about 2 hours. Holly and Paul have picked out more than a few sights to see. Although some type of pedicab or rickshaw is available in lots of cities around the world, the concept is fairly new to Washington. Co-founder Ryan Guthrie says they started in the summer of 2006.
We were just looking through the Washington Post Express and saw an article about pedicabs in New York City. Ironically, the article was about how New York City was trying to shut down the pedicabs, and we had a brilliant idea that why don't we start a pedicab company here.
Unlike New York, Ryan says Washington has been receptive to the idea.
They understand that it's I think a value to the city to have pedicabs for the tourism industry, and so they're keeping an eye on us and making sure that we're doing everything safely and properly. But I think they'd like to see the pedicab market sort of build up a little bit here.
It's ideas like this keeping Washington in the green, and I'm not talking just the environment.
Okay, I have to ask this. How are the tips?
Outstanding.
Well, thank you very much, Rebecca. That's a beautiful, beautiful package on environment.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me.
We hope to
It's a
see
pleasure.
you again.
We'll see you again next week.
All right. For more information on these stories, go to voanews.com/TV to Africa.
And as we have been telling you over the course of the week, VOA marks the first 100 days of Barack Obama's presidency on May 5th at 1500 UTC by holding a global town hall meeting. And you can participate by going to voanews.com and submitting your question or comment. Again, join us live on May 5th at 1500 UTC for this 2-hour event.